Hey guys, how's it going? It's Michelangelo out here with, Luna Sports. And first off and foremost, I know I don't have that huge of a following, but you can go ahead and hit that like button right quick. Just hit it right there, and you can always subscribe. But I'm here today to talk about sports. I'm one of the most biggest OKC Thunder fans that you may know. First off, I've been liking the Thunder for what? I could say maybe shoot, like at least over 10 years, over about like 12 years, I could say. I've been a Thunder fan. The reason why I first started being a Thunder fan is for one, is I had to deal with all the controversy with LA Lakers. I was a big Shaquille O'Neal fan. It was a tragic to see him go, and the organization just didn't see the same. Yeah, yeah, even though Kobe did his thing, Kobe made it happen, and they got Gasol and all that, but I just still feel till this day, it just that team didn't feel the same without Shaq, and I really appreciated Shaq and the things that he did for that organization. I was really hurt of how Shaq just left and how they ended up keeping Kobe. But long story short, man, I just wanted to let you guys know, like, I just been this OKC fan for a minute, right? And I just don't see how Pressy is one of the most, you know, let's just say it, one of the most worst GMs that I've seen off record. Like, you see teams where they go through flips and flops, but they still make their shit competitive, right? They still try to, like, hey, you know what, whatever, we'll be the last seed in the playoffs. We'll still try to make this interesting for fans, but I don't know what's going in Pressy's eyes. Like, it just starts with all the moves that's gone on. Okay, let's go way back when. All right, way back when. All right, so West and well, first Kevin Durant was drafted, by the Supersonics. Then we got switched over to OKC, right? Then once they're in OKC, 2009, you got West that's got drafted, right? You know, both of them too, I feel like were a real good duo. West was pretty good at the time at the point, good at handling the ball and then passing it off to Kevin Durant for the shot and for him to do his thing. They just had some things to critique. When they got Billy Donovan inside there, Billy Donovan, I feel like, is more of a college mind coach. He's not necessarily someone that's going to bring you to the playoffs and make you win a whole bunch of games. Like, he's got little tiny schemes that help out, but nowadays it's screen and pop. It's screen and pop, or you finesse the post up, or you're just a good person that can lob up a pass and someone can dunk it, or you're a finesse passer like Lonzo Ball or LeBron James. And now it's like, when I think of Billy Donovan, he don't really have that in his playbook. He's ISO with Wes right now, and I feel like Paul George could have been in an attempt to make this thing happen, but Pressy didn't talk. Pressy didn't say, I feel like, what he should have said. He was more, I feel like, accommodating to the player than the actual organization. I felt like Kevin Durant left. I would say, honestly, in everybody's eyes, Kevin Durant left because he wasn't happy with the situation in OKC. He wasn't happy that he didn't feel like the number one guy. He didn't feel like he was the main player to cater to. And then it's like, as an organization, you got to sit down and think, like, how good is Kevin Durant? Like, who do we really want in our organization? Do we want Kevin Durant or do we want Westbrook? And in my eyes, even in that situation, Westbrook is a good player. Don't get me wrong, but Kevin Durant is always going to be better than West. Like, Westbrook is his own thing, but Kevin Durant is always going to be the man. And not only that, it's like if we would have got rid of Westbrook then, just imagine this. Having Ernest Cantor, having Adams, having Ibaka, having Harden. Like, if we were able to keep all of them together like that, that would have been amazing. Like, look at what right now the Golden State Warriors done, right? They were kind of in our situation, right? They drafted Seth. They drafted Draymond. They drafted, you know, Klay Thompson. And they're willing to put up the time and effort to keep all of them together. They tried to keep Katie, but Katie left, you know. And it's like with our organization, it's just the complete opposite. It's like someone comes to OKC and then they say, "Oh, I don't want to be here." And they're just ready to cater to the next person that wants to come and send them off to the new thing. Like, we traded for Paul George, for instance, right? Did we really need to make that trade for Paul George? Like, Paul George is really good, don't get me wrong. But, like, we had Victor Oladipo that was still young, still didn't have that much of an opportunity, you know. And I feel like if we would have kept him, maybe he would have turned into the player that he is. And also, I just feel like we could have definitely made a difference, you know. But I mean, we did get a good amount of like return for trading Paul George. I mean, could we should have shopped around? Maybe got a more superstar? Maybe. There's a good possibility. And then the way we got rid of West, it was like we just got him rid of for him just to deal with a whole nother issue. Now we got to deal with Chris Paul's money. We got to deal with whether he even wants to play in OKC, whether if anybody wants to take him. Like, is there a deeper inside that we do not know about? Like, is there a possibility that we already have a trade set in stone? We're just trying to see what's going to fit best and work best for us. Because all in my eyes, I feel like Pressey has done the worst to this organization. How do you draft 3 people, all of them are MVPs, and they're not even on the team no more? Like, I've never heard of that in my life. Like, even when Kawhi Leonard, got drafted, like, Kawhi Leonard played for the Spurs and got them a championship. Why? Because they set themselves up with a decent team. They puzzled it together. They had an ability to have a good coach. And everything just worked out that way. And then now you think about it, it's like Pressey just was like, oh shit, like, I just lost the best player for OKC. Let me do something, whatever I can, just to keep my job. And let me go ahead and sacrifice Wes for maybe, let's see, 2 picks that we can't use for the next 4 to 6 years. Like, if you look at the NBA, like, they need to start treating this league as if it's the NFL. Like, the NFL, they have the ability to actually pay them players because, they get paid more. They get more for less games. And, like, people demand trades and people do this and that, and there has to be a bylaw or a standard to where these players just can't do these to these organizations because you signed that contract, you committed to it, and you got to stick to it. I understand, you go into a job, you think it is what it is, and you turn out it's a complete opposite of what you thought about. But also, I mean, we, as an organization, man, I just feel it's just a bunch of bullshit, I mean, the picks that we're going to get is soon, they're going to be pretty good for Paul George. But for Westbrook, for 11 years that he's been on this organization, have taken all the huge amount of criticism and everything, like, I don't know. We should have got more for him. Chris Paul ain't nothing, really. Chris Paul's like getting Patrick Beverly or getting, like, Um, I don't know, somebody else similar to that kind of caliber. Is just there is still other players that we could have attempted to, and hopefully, I actually was like listening to radio, and pretty much from what my understanding is, it who's in the run to basically make another trade with Chris Paul is possibly the Pistons. I mean, Detroit Pistons got some players that may be possibility worth trying to trade for. They also got some young cats too. Not only that, maybe even the 76ers might be able to trade. They got a couple young cats too, and maybe a decent draft pick we can get from them. And I don't know. Or you know what? I this is the number one thought in my mind is Miami Heat. You know, Miami Heat is probably going to be the main priority that we're going to be dealing with because we've been talking to them since we had Westbrook, and maybe they just didn't want to deal with Westbrook's contract because it's still quite some time on there. And, you know, by the time he's done, he's going to be in his mid 30s for that contract. So I feel like, you know, Chris Paul with Jimmy Butler, that might be pretty good. You know what I mean? Jimmy Butler wants to handle the ball a lot. And if Chris Paul can get his shit right and actually shoot a shot, then it might be decent. And maybe we get Willow and a couple other players and maybe another pick. I mean, then yeah, I could see us winning a little bit on that, but I just don't understand why we got rid of Jimmy Graham, though. I mean, not Jimmy Graham, excuse me. I mean, Jimmy Grant. I can't believe we got rid of Grant. Like, that doesn't make no sense to me. You know, like, yeah, he wasn't like a 5-star player. Let's just say put him at a 3.5, 3.8. Like, this guy was starting to get up there. Like, this dude started shooting threes, started good defender. Like, he can handle one of the top two or top three of someone's team. Like, he was able to guard, like, no problem. And he was even dunking it down. Like, I seen a future in Grant. Like, for me, as a Thunder fan, in my opinion, I seen something good in him. And for us to, like, just let him go like that, I just could not understand that either. Like, are we just going completely rebuild where we're not going to be competitive anymore? And is it going to be even worth seeing a OKC game? Like, it just really frustrates me inside. And then not only that too, like in the NBA, like just to give you this, right? So I live in California, right? And if I wanted to see a game of the Clippers last year, I got to see a Clippers game for like $30. And now with Kawhi Leonard being there and Paul George, I don't even think I'll be able to even see a Clipper game or a Laker game. Like, these players always want to get paid more. They always want to go to the organization. They always demand these trades. Like, literally in the NBA, all these players have a lot of more authority when it comes to the GM, when it comes to pretty much kind of like the commissioner, because the commissioner right now is trying to figure out some rules and stuff for all this, because it's like these players are going to these organizations that want to win a championship because they never won, and then they go and basically turn them down after that. You know, like, it's not the OKC's fault that Paul George got hurt towards the playoffs. And now all of a sudden, because he didn't win in the playoffs, he's like, I'm going to go somewhere else. When you rehab that shoulder, you already have West there. We already had a situation where we were thinking about getting rid of Shooter and Steven Adams. And if we were able to get rid of that cap, there would have been a good opportunity in the next year or two to sign another big deal player. And then you would have won your championship. Sometimes when they say, like, when you wait, sometimes the greater things will come. And a lot of these players, they don't have the time to wait. I get it. You get older, your game slows down, but at the same time, when you got an organization that put a lot into you, traded for you, signed you a new contract, paid you fat, and then now you turn away. Like it just bubbles me up inside. I get really frustrated about this, and Chris Paul was one of my favorite players way back when he was on the Pacers, and it was a tragic scene seeing him hurt that knee in the U.S. games, and now it's like I don't even want to hear about him because I just feel like he just quit. When you join an organization, I get it. Some part of it has to be about you, but at some point, you have to also sweat for the organization too. You have to put in your time so that people show the appreciation for you. Like, Westbrook really showed appreciation for an organization and kind of teached all these young players of, hey, you could keep trying for 11 years, 5 to 8 years, 10 years, and stay with that organization. Now, it's totally different.